Hi music teacher colleagues, it's Chris Artiaga, and today I'm going to show you how to use Finale, which is a music notation software, to create a demonstration track in GarageBand. So we're going to be using two pieces of music technology software to create demonstration tracks that you can use in your classroom with kids. This is a great tool in the music educator's arsenal. So here it is. So, in order to transfer my Finale file to GarageBand, I obviously have to have my Finale file created. And I am going to go ahead and show you guys how to make something really quick and easy in Finale, even if you don't have a MIDI keyboard set up to it. I find it faster, but we're just going to do this really quick. So first, I'm going to pick my pitched percussion, and I'm going to pick a bass xylophone, an alto xylophone, and a, call it soprano glockenspiel. And I like to have these with the bass on the bottom. So then I'm going to click next, and I'm going to call this Orff demonstration. And then I'm going to go to next. And it's going to be in 4/4. And I'm just going to do a few measures. Now, you could do as many measures as you want or as few measures as you want. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to do 4 measures. And then this opens up for me. And then I can click in some of whatever I need to put in here. So I'm going to use just a really simple Orff drone on the bottom. Which is a half note quarter pattern for my bass xylophone. Copy that measure. And then I'm going to try something a little bit more complicated in the alto xylophone. And it does give you a little bit of sound with it, but I don't really find the sound in Finale to be really that good. And I don't find that it demonstrates with all the capabilities that GarageBand has, which is why I'm showing you this. So that's just my pattern there on the alto xylophone. Copy that in. And then I'm going to give it something a little bit more complicated for my glockenspiel part, just to give it a little bit more interest when we hear this. So this is going to be all 8th notes. So and this does go a little bit faster if you have a MIDI keyboard, but not much. And this is something that, this whole thing I think I can get done in, well, we'll see how long this video is, but probably about 10 minutes for something like this. Now, obviously, if you are doing a more complicated arrangement, then obviously that's going to take a lot more time. But this one, is it? No, I want it on G. Good. And then and that's my little melody that I'm going to put in the glockenspiel, and I'm just going to copy this over here because it's really just going to be a background track. All right, so that's really all there is to the finale. You can get that done quickly by just clicking this simple entry tool and using these palettes. If all these palettes don't come up, you're going to want the main entry, and you're going to be clicking there, and then you should have simple entry rests and quarter notes, and that can get you to whatever you want. So after this, I'm going to save this 2 times. So there's 2 different ways. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it as just as a regular finale file in case I ever wanted to come back to this and to edit it, or in case I made a mistake. So I'm going to call this simple orchestration. I'm going to save it to my finale folder, and that's saved as a finale file. So now if I ever want to come back and re-edit this, I can. But the real trick, and what I'm going to show you today, is I'm going to show you how to export this as a MIDI file. And this is what's going to allow me to mess with this in GarageBand in a minute. So I'm going to export this as a MIDI file here under the File menu and go to MIDI file. And I'm still calling it simple orchestration, but I'm going to move to my MIDI folder. I have a MIDI folder somewhere. Where is it? There it is. So and you can save it wherever you want. I just like to save all my MIDI files in a MIDI folder. So that is, it's saved. Now this is really important. It's going to say, do you want to save it to separate tracks or to a single track? You want to save it to a single track. So there. And it's saved. So I'm done with finale. I can quit out of finale. And then open GarageBand. So now here's GarageBand. I'm just going to do an empty project. And it doesn't matter. I usually just do a software instrument. And that's really basic. So there. So now I have my basic software instrument coming up with a classic piano. And here's on the left over here is my option to change all these instruments. That's going to be important in a minute. I am going to show you now exactly what you need to do. So you're going to open your documents, and you're going to go back to that MIDI file that you just made. And here it is. And that was simple orchestration. And all you do is you take it and you drag it directly into GarageBand. Like this, see? And I like to start it obviously in the first measure. So it'll take itself a minute. And there it is. Now it's already in there. Now it all comes in as a Steinway grand piano. That's, for some reason, that's what it also always does. So I can see that I need to do some deleting. So I'm going to delete this track. And then I can see in here that there are 3 tracks that have my bass xylophone, alto xylophone, and glockenspiel in them. Now I'm going to mess with those in a minute. But first I'm going to get rid of everything else because it puts in a bunch of tracks that you really don't need. So I'm just going to delete those and then delete the tracks in here too as well. So you have to delete twice. They go away. And then I have my 3 tracks. Now notice they're all on Steinway grand piano, which is fine. I'm going to change that in a minute, but let's just listen to see what it sounds like really quickly. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to turn off the metronome and the counted because that's annoying if I want to make it into some type of a demonstration piece later, or into an MP3 file that I can manipulate a little bit more easily than a GarageBand file. So the first one that I'm going to change the orchestration and the sound on is this piano, which is my glockenspiel part. And luckily there is a glockenspiel in GarageBand. So you go into orchestral, and then you go into percussion, and there it is. And that just changed it instantly to a glockenspiel, and we'll see that in a minute. So there is no bass and alto xylophone in GarageBand, unfortunately, but that's okay because we just go to mallet, and I have never really had a problem changing it to marimba, which sounds very similar to a alto or bass xylophone. So changing both of these to marimba. Now let's see how this sounds. I think that's a little bit fast. So I'm going to take this down to, let's try 100. Up. And it's going to ask me to change it here, which is fine. I'm just going to drag it down to 100. And now see how it sounds. And that's done. Now, if I want to drag this out, maybe I want it to go on for a little longer, then I can just drag those and it just repeats forever. This is a great tool for the music teacher to hear the orchestration before it's played, and also for the kids to hear it. Now I've used these as demonstration tracks to help kids understand what it's supposed to sound like. I can even isolate one of these tracks now so that if I'm just teaching the glockenspiel part, then the kids can just hear that. And I could even slow that down because I wouldn't really probably teach that fast, right? So I'd probably teach it maybe at 80. And I'm just going to adjust it there. Let's try it again. Or I might even teach it slower than that, right? Because we're going to process this out as teachers in whatever way is most comfortable for us and our students. So here, and you can just leave this in GarageBand if you want to. Or you can save it as a MIDI file, not as a MIDI file, I'm sorry, or save it as, export it to as an MP4 file to music, and then you have a little bit more options of dragging it into PowerPoints and things like that. So here I'll just show you how to do that. It's really simple, just quick. So I like to make sure that my metronome's off and this counter's off. I also like to make sure that the length of the track is whatever length I actually want it to be. So I'm going to take this dark bar over to the side here so I don't have a lot of extra silence at the end of it. And then that's as long. Let's see how long this is at 100 beats. This is going to be 38 seconds. Now normally I prefer to make them longer, which I could just do by dragging it out. Let's go to there. And then turn this back to Beats Project again. And then I would take it to here, however long, so you would complete all of your measures. And there it is. And that is going to be longer, so I don't have to go restarting it. Sometimes I've made these as long as 11 minutes long, just so that there's lots of time for kids to practice. And I don't have to be adjusting the recording or anything like that. So let's see how long it is. It's 2 minutes now. It's 2 minutes now, which would be fine for our purposes. You could go as long as 11, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. So I'm going to share this. I usually just share it to music. You could also share it to SoundCloud or media browser. You could airdrop it to something, export it to disk. I just share it directly to music. It's a little easier. I'm going to call this simple orchestration and share it to music. And it's going to get it figured out. And it comes up in music as it starts. And there it is. And now I can just take this and drag it into any other program where I want it. So that's how you do this. This is how you change a finale track into a GarageBand track that you can use as a demonstration of the way something sounds. You can do this with your own compositions or anybody else's compositions with correct permission. So good luck. Enjoy using that.